Hi, I'm Renee Fry. I'm one of the founders of Gentreo. And what we do is online estate planning. So that is wills, healthcare proxies, powers of attorney, pet powers of attorneys, and then we let you store everything in a digital vault. And so people hear the words estate planning and they think, oh, that's for the wealthy. No, it is not. And people think, oh, that must be when I'm going to perish or something, or it's sad. No, it's for right now. So healthcare proxies, powers of attorney, all these things are things, documents that you need right now. And then also you need to make sure your family has all of your information, because in critical times, whether it's today or tomorrow, if people don't know how to use the documents, the information that you have, nothing happens. And you end up going to court, and that's when the stories get sad and your family spends thousands of dollars. So if you protect yourself, it's now affordable and it's easy to do. So that's why we created Gentreo.
Renee, thank you very much for joining us. All right, so I have so many questions. One, how did you start this? I mean, what was that idea that actually got you going? Because this is something that, one, I've never heard of, but I've never heard of the digital vault, but I've heard all the horror stories of individuals that couldn't get access after someone passed away or if someone was in the hospital. So just to walk us through the process.
Yeah, so our parents wanted to protect all the things that they had worked so hard for. So they went to an attorney and the attorney said $10,000. And first my parents were like, "Ugh." But then they decided that they really needed to take care of, my mom wanted to take care of my dad. He has Alzheimer's, and going to make sure that my mom was taken care of. So they paid the $10,000. During the process, it looked like a pretty standardized process. So we're like, okay, you're pulling the same books down. You're doing the same questionnaire that you do each time. Why are my parents paying $10,000? The average family can't afford this. And so we started thinking, okay, there has to be a better way. And then in my son's school's parking lot, we were talking to one of the moms there who happened to be an estate planning attorney, and she was thinking about becoming a nurse. And we're like, no, you should become an internet entrepreneur with us, because we need to change the world. We need to make this affordable so everyone can do it, because all of us need this. And there's scary words, estate planning. People think it's only for the wealthy. And we're like, okay, but everybody needs a will. Everybody needs these healthcare proxies and powers of attorneys to protect their choices. And so we all got together, and that was about 2.5, 3 years ago, and started working with one of the tech folks that I'd been working with over the past 2 decades. So it's always good to stay in touch with all of your, especially tech buddies. But we all decided that
Contacts are wonderful.
yes, but his parents, his grandmother, he actually had to pay $10,000 for his grandmother's $5,000 estate to get everything closed. And so he said, I'm in. This has to be done. We have to find a better way to do this so that all Americans can protect themselves. So that's how we got started. And then on the digital vault part, the one thing we realized is that people who had done estate planning really never knew where their documents were. Or, for instance, and I think my mom is here because we're here, she's helping care for my son right now during this time. He's 8. And so she was a teacher, thank God, and so can be his teacher. But my mom said, it's stored in the filing cabinet in the basement in that secret location. We're like, okay, but if it's a secret location, that means we don't know the location. So God bless you, Mom, but where are these documents? And especially, with my dad with Alzheimer's, and he's had a couple strokes. These are documents that you need. So in the middle of the night, you really can't be wondering when you're in Boston and they're in Pennsylvania, what am I doing? Where are these things going? So that was why we added on not just the documents, but the digital vaults as well, so you could always have access.
So I think this is fantastic. So my dad died 5 years ago of cancer, and my dad was very, very organized in regards to everything.
Good.
So we started with like, yay, he's organized, where he always said, when I die, everything will be planned and you don't have to worry about a thing. So when he died, all funeral arrangements were done. He picked his coffin, he picked his resting place, he picked everything was done. And we're like, wow, everything is done except for the will and everything. We didn't know where it was. And so that was the moment of anxiety was kicked up by a lot. We knew it existed. We didn't know where it was. And it was literally probably after the funeral and after everything had happened and still running around trying to figure out things. And it was, mind you, in the most it was in the most convenient place was a briefcase, but we didn't know. It was just the information, and anxiety wasn't there. So imagine the individuals that when someone dies, you're running to the funeral homes and you're just making these decisions without thinking about it. But afterwards, you're like, how are we going to get everything else done? And it's that paperwork. And so That's fantastic. that you like created that, because more and more people do definitely need that. You hear the stories of individuals that are, whether they're same-sex marriages, whether they are they're cohabitating but they're not married. All this information, who's in charge of what, doesn't exist. So why did you you did this? I mean, you created this company. It was definitely personal for you, but who's going out? Who's like using the services? And I mean, and who's? I mean, like walk me through in regards of who are you going after? We could say America, but it's such a large database of America. But who are the individuals that are really seeking you out right now, or who are the individuals that you are seeking out?
So what we go after, a lot of folks who are going through life inflection points, that's what we call it. So if you're about to have a baby, you know that you need to put a will in place. You need to have your proper documents in place because now you brought a new life into the world and that baby's going to depend on you. So that's one life inflection point. Other life inflection points are when you start caring for an aging parent, or if they have like a fall, you know that that's a kind of a trigger point that you're going to need to make sure proper things are in place. So we have a number of checklists for folks as well, understanding, uh-oh, this just happened. What do I do? Because when some of these things happen, you don't know what to do, right? It's something that each person ends up having to learn over and over again. So what we've tried to do is say, okay, you're not alone. Other people have gone through this. So let's help replicate the process to make it easy for people and then make it affordable too. And that was one of the things with the digital vault. We're actually introducing, we have an emergency button. So in case something happens, you're all prepared. Because the one thing also is that with families, people want to help, but they don't always know how to help or how to be there. So what we've really worked hard on with the checklist and other things is to make sure that people understand you can help. Here are the 10 steps around what is probably going to be happening and how you might be able to contribute to making it easier for your family during really trying times. But you know, the nice part too is that there are other happy times, right? So if you're having a baby, that's a great time and you have a chance to get prepared and be ready and share wonderful things. But also it's some of those other times when people wake up and realize, oh, I wasn't protected. What do I do? And that's where Gentreo comes in.
You mentioned the emergency button. What is that?
So that's something new we're introducing. And so the problem with folks that have today is that all of a sudden you have a stroke at 2 in the morning, or your husband, your partner, your wife, whatever, and you realize, where is everything? So just like you talked about when your, father passed away, what happens? How do you get that? And so him being prepared was really excellent, because most people, they aren't as lucky. So this would be, uh-oh, something just happened, right? So if you just were admitted to the hospital, where is your healthcare proxy? Where are the documents around what are your medications? And that's all stored in the digital vault. How does all that pop up so that the people that you shared it with now have instant access to that information so that you can get the care that you asked for, that you needed for? And this is one thing that really I want to stress too. This is about you today, being alive. It's not about just, estate planning for when you're gone. It's about making sure you have the right documents today, and what do you do, and how do you let your family know how you want to be cared for and how you want to, have them make decisions.
Excellent. It's so important because you see a lot of individuals on their iPhones or on their little tag saying like, I'm a donor. I'm a donor, saying anything happens to me. And you see more young people doing that. But you're right, when it comes to estate planning, it is very daunting. It's that they're like, oh, I don't have an estate, so why should I think about the estate planning?
Exactly. Yes.
Where they believe it, my body is my estate, so being a donor is something that makes more sense to me in the big scheme of things.
But even in that, we have an emergency card that's free. People can go on and do, because very few people, where can you find out if someone's really a donor or not? Right? And it's those critical hours and time that matters. If you're going to save someone else and their lives, you need to have that marked. So we have an emergency card so that, one, you can share, are you a donor? Who's your doctor? What medications do you have? Because too many of us just assume everything is on the internet these days. And so it is. So now you can either print out the emergency card, or there's a button. It's as simple as being able to hit that too, so that you now can get all the information that you need to the folks who need it.
We are in a world where the world is different. I mean, the universe is speaking to us in a different way. I don't think that anyone could have ever imagined where we hear about the word pandemic in the history books in our religious realm. in our lifetime, did you ever think that we were going to be in it? And now that we're in it, what has that done to your team? What has that done to your family? What has that done to your company?
Yeah, so we've actually had to like triple down on the work. So no one sleeps anymore because we've been overwhelmed with response and people really trying to make sure they protect their families. We went from, it was $129 to be able to do the will, the healthcare proxies, power of attorneys, and save everything. And then we lowered the price to $29.99 for
Oh my
people
God,
because
amazing.
we basically said, you know what? This is just about families protecting themselves. So we all need healthcare proxies. We all need, the wills and things like that. And you have to have state specific documents. So you really have to make sure that if you're in Massachusetts, you get the Massachusetts documents, because a lot of people are like, oh, hey, I can just go online and print things off for free. And we're like, well, you can, but whether or not it's really going to be valid and work in the state in which you live, that's a big question. So what we've done is basically said, okay, $29.99, you can get everything that you need. You can make these documents and then be protected. And then you get to share them and, keep them with folks. And that's one of the things I think that's a huge, differentiator for us, is that you can go back anytime you need, update your documents if things change, relationships change, your decisions change. But it's a critical time now for everyone to protect themselves. So yeah, we gave up sleeping.
I'm sure you sleep a little bit, but I totally understand that whole entire concept of being available to everyone. I think that one of the biggest things that people are going to think about, they're thinking about the safety of their family, but what about the safety of their products? I shouldn't say the products, but the safety of their documents in your product.
Yep. So, and that's where we passed all the bank level security tests and make sure that everything is safe. So it's up to the users though to pick, what they want to share with people. So we made it so that you can choose one document if you just want to choose a healthcare proxy, or maybe you have a whole card filled out about your vet and you want to share it with another individual. You get to pick and choose, and that's up to you who you want to share your information with, because in today's age, relationships change, but you want to make sure your data is secure. But again, if people don't have that healthcare proxy, if they don't have your vet's information, if they don't know who your doctor is, what your medication is, they can't help you. So I guess choose your friends and family, or well, choose your friends wisely and hope your family likes you and will use the information.
In regards to right now, a lot of people are losing their jobs. A lot of people are scared. A lot of people, like, number one priority, I need to take care of my family. You have a business. What advice or what thoughts would you give to a person that, number one, is considering maybe starting their own business because I just got furloughed. I don't know if I'm going to have my job back. I don't know if I'm going to have, I don't know if I really want to go back to the way it was, because this is maybe a large opportunity. And I'm watching a lot of individuals coming up with ways to fix the pain point right now. So what are the thoughts that you'd give to a person that was in your situation, like where you came from and where you are right now?
Number one, you have to be passionate, because the passion will get you through the times when you hear the no, or when you can't find the customers you need, or when you can't get that product developed. So passion, number one. And then number two, from a very practical side, financially, you have to make sure that you're ready. And this is where it can get really tough, where if you aren't making revenue, then that's hard to do. Can you survive that? Can you do that? Or maybe what you do is you work part-time while you're working to start the business that you're in love with. Because if you can't have the money to kind of last for a year or two, probably it's not going to work, because very few things do you just flip the switch and overnight it turns on and you start making money. So really you have to make sure that you have a plan and that you're ready.
I definitely went out of order in this, but I'm curious, what is your industry looking like right now? With everything that's happening, you're dealing with individuals that are in that concept of building the estate, having a plan, the strategy of what their family is looking around. Walk us through the industry as a whole and what the current situation is doing for it.
Yep. So one of the things that was interesting and just kind of some of the fluctuations is that we work a lot with large companies to provide this as an HR benefit, and then also as a benefit to their clients. So we work with financial service providers and others. But to be honest, we saw a little bit of a slowdown in that world, because so many of them had to go back to saying, I need to focus on my core business. And so then what we did was we got more into saying, okay, well, this is a B2C offering too, from the business to consumer. We can go direct. And so that was kind of one of the biggest things that we had to change in this situation, of making sure that we could get to the customers and making sure the message was clear to them why they need it. Because in the past, when you said estate planning, usually you had to, be honest, get kicked in the seat of the pants from your financial advisor who said, okay, we're going to do this. And today now people are saying, okay, I need this. I need this. I need to wake up and do this. And so that was a little bit of a change. But I think in the long term, it will go back to where, you want to make sure that trusted financial advisors and others are giving you some of these products to make sure that you can care for your family today and tomorrow. And so that's something that was a little unique. And one of the things we're trying to do is make sure that with customers, we keep adding value to them. So it's not just a one and done process. And too many people are like, aha, I did a will and I shoved it in a cabinet and it's done. It's really not, because your life changes, relationships change, the things that are important to you change. So really one of the things we've tried to focus on is how can Gentreo grow with folks and make sure that we're here for them today, but then tomorrow, and as their life changes every day.
We see a lot of individuals that are, I mean, I'm sure you could see this in your neighborhoods when there are the stores that are closed, and then there are the stores that are coming up with creative ways to pivot and keep alive. You're doing everything that you can. You're not sleeping. You lower your price. You're not sleeping. You're getting a lot of attention. What have you gained from this? Where, you know what, I think I needed to add this that I would have never thought. I would have never thought of it if this situation didn't happen. So what has happened to your company to evolve it because of this current situation?
I think the emergency button is the number one thing that we've been working tirelessly to add, just because, again, estate planning used to be something that people planned and they thought they had forever to do. And now today, it's not forever. It's like, oh my gosh, I need this now. I need this tomorrow. And then one of the other things, I think it's just a little bit of an odd thing, but when people fill out, for instance, a healthcare proxy, most people, what I found, when just, and this is through casual conversations, but when you click on the buttons, you can say, let my healthcare agent make my decisions, or, I want to stay alive at all costs, or XYZ. And now what we're seeing is a lot of people are worried about not being able to get a ventilator. They don't want to be the person. So you know how right now with the coronavirus, people they're having to choose. Are you one of the guys who gets a ventilator, or are you not? And so people are redoing healthcare proxies and coming on quite a bit from what we've seen in the number generated, making sure that they let people know, do you want a ventilator? Because their healthcare proxies in the past just said, yeah, you know what, because if it's that dire, then let me go. But now in this unique situation that we're in, we're seeing more people who are at least questioning and asking questions on Facebook and other things about, the ventilators. And we never give legal advice, but, we just tell people, well, make your option, let people know what option you want. Make things known. Because if nothing is written down, you either go with either what you had, or you go with the government standards they tried to suggest and put in place. And so people are like, well, how do I control my own destiny? How do I control my own future? And a lot is, well, put it in writing, get it done.
Okay, so I have to get a little bit more of a clarification. The ventilator, so walk me through that once. What are you reading and what are you seeing? Because that's something where I'm assuming, from what we're seeing on the news, if I'm having problems, the ventilator is there. So is that not an option for everyone?
Well, I think right now people are worried that it's not there for everyone because of the surge in cases. And so people have been worried about their healthcare proxies in the past, just said, pull the plug, or, let my healthcare person decide. And now, at least from the questions that we've gotten, a number of people are saying, okay, well, I do want a ventilator. If it's a decision between, they're going to give me one, but then they find out that I wrote a document saying I'm not interested. How do I change that? So it's kind of that interesting thing where in the past people really just, they just filled out the document, and that was probably the way they felt most comfortable feeling. It was just saying, okay, let people decide. But more people now are saying, oh, wait, hey, if, I want on that list. If there is a shortage, I want to make sure that I'm one of the people that I get that chance to, make it through coronavirus. And really, that's just anecdotal. It's through the Facebook questions and number of people that we've been getting questions from, because we don't ever look at what people fill out. We don't look at people's data on the app and things like that. But it must have been it was a small group, and I would say I think people started talking to each other about this, and then we kept getting more and more questions, and we're like, oh my gosh, this must be like a great moms group or something that got a bunch of people going and talking about this, because it was mostly women that were asking the question. But it was a good question, because in the past, no one really even thought about these things. And now everyone's
Well,
trying
we
to
didn't
figure
really
out,
have to. I mean, it's like,
right?
again, if you, again, look, as I mentioned, a pandemic was never something that would ever be in our thought process right
Exactly
now.
right.
So it is, I'm sure you're going to get a lot more questions that you would have never thought about in the past.
Yeah, no, and this is where we just tell people, like, well, go online, you can get into Gentreo. It's relatively inexpensive right now, and you can make those choices and make your choices known. Because if you don't make your choices known and you don't put the documents in a place where people can find them, then they're not going to be used, and people are going to guess for you, and you're going to be ending up in some line that, you didn't want to be in, but other people will make your choices for you.
Absolutely. Uh, if you had to have a ask, I mean, like if you're putting out the ask to the universe, what would be the ask for your company, for yourself, for the bigger picture of what's happening right now? Actually, I'm going to stop with that question for a quick second. Tomorrow, everything ends. Like we're back to our new normal, but we're back to normal. What does your day look like?
I'm going to sleep a little bit. And we are here at my parents'. Like I said, we've come down to try to help our mom care for our dad. And so I want to spend some more quality time with my dad while he's here, and with my mom, and enjoy that time. And that's something we get to do some of now, but really make sure that we value the time, because you can lose anyone at any time. And so you really have to make sure you value what you have today. And so my son is now 8.5, and my parents have gotten to see him grow up and have been here. And it's a fantastic experience, and just making sure that we put the time and energy into cherishing those relationships.
Fantastic. I know. Okay, then now you're asked the universe, like what is something that you'd want as many people as possible to know about your company, to know about you?
So Gentreo, Gentreo, but we put tons and tons of information up so people can learn. So
Okay,
you don't
great.
have to buy anything, just go learn. Right? Because this is one of those things where we're in a scary time, but there's so much information out there. So we tried to compile it and make it concise for folks, so that people can understand what are some of their decisions, what are they, what are the considerations, what do you need to be thinking about. So just go to Gentreo, Gentreo, and just learn. We named it Gentreo because it's 3 generations, because so many of us have young children, aging parents, we're caring for ourselves. And so the 3 generations. But learn, and then figure out, do you need to take actions? But no matter what, you'll feel better, because now you know.
Okay, fantastic. And you know what? I have to say that I wish this existed when my dad was around, because he would have loved this. But you know what? It exists for my mom. I mean, it exists for me. And so I definitely appreciate it. I mean, I can't wait. I mean, I'm going to sign up because it's something that I would have never thought about. But I have the pain point about it. And I have a lot of different friends that have had the same situation where they didn't know. And so I think that you having this situation, this being your pain point, and you creating this amazing platform for everyone to have a little bit of an easier life and livelihood is fantastic. So thank you so very much, Renee. I mean, I appreciate you taking some time to talk to us about what you do. And I want more and more people to learn about you and get on that platform and really start thinking about not only their families, but thinking about themselves as well.
Thank you, Jodi. You're wonderful too. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I appreciate it. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.